Last week I looked at some of the meteorological reasons behind Hurricane Sandy's unprecedented track. And despite that unusual path, the storm was actually very well forecast, at least 4 days in advance, by most of the computer models. Now here's a look at some of those computer model forecasts. These forecasts were initialized the Wednesday before the storm, when it was still in the Caribbean. Now what you see here, the European model in red and the model from the Geophysical Fluid Dynamics Laboratory in Princeton, New Jersey in green, both of those had the track very well nailed. The actual track of Sandy is in black here. Now this is 5 days in advance. Now at that time, the American model, the Global Forecast System model, had the storm moving out to sea. That's the yellow line here. But 1 day later, the Thursday before the storm, even the Global Forecast System model came into line with the European model. And that's what prompted the National Hurricane Center to issue this forecast. This was issued at 8 p.m. the Thursday before the storm made landfall, essentially nailing the landfall location of Sandy a full 4 days in advance. Truly one of the finest 4-day hurricane forecasts that I can remember. One reason the GFS changed its tune the Thursday before the storm may have been that the National Weather Service began launching extra weather balloons that day, every 6 hours instead of the usual 12. The first time this had ever been done for the whole continental U.S., evidence of how seriously the Weather Service took the threat. 2 days before landfall, the head of the Weather Service office near Philadelphia took the highly unusual step of issuing a personal plea, imploring coastal residents to evacuate if asked, indicating that major property damage was unavoidable, but the goal was no fatalities, and even giving residents his phone number so they could call and yell at him afterwards if they thought the storm was overhyped. On the scientific side, one of the geostationary satellites was put into what's called super rapid scan mode, collecting 1 image per minute to unveil the smallest details of the storm as it spun toward the coast. The final total on power outages was 8.4 million customers across 16 states, the second most for a natural disaster behind only the March 1993 storm of the century. A computer model used to predict power outages came pretty close to that total, though the geographic distribution of the outages wasn't quite right. You can see the areas most affected by outages by comparing this nighttime satellite image before Sandy with this one taken after. There are some clouds in the latter image, but if we go back to the pre-Sandy image one more time, then back to after the storm, you can see much of central New Jersey and western Long Island lost power. PECO, which has 1.6 million customers in 6 southeast Pennsylvania counties, reported about half lost power, the most on record for them. Finally, a reminder of the cold side of Sandy, still plenty of snow left on the ground this morning above 2,500 feet on the cross-country ski trail in Laurel Ridge State Park. That early season high-altitude snowpack, however, may be in danger, as you'll hear from Fred in the extended forecast next.